Thank you once again for joining us. This training is organized in the by the SMERF project. The SMERF project is co-financed by Interest Central Europe, and the acronym is from SMEs Ready for the Future. So why we started with and decided to implement this project, based on the research, we saw that there is a low level of innovation and adaptation of new technologies and new business models in Central Europe, that digitalization and awareness about the value of the circular economy is below the EU average. There is low cooperation between SMEs and major companies and startups. And there are, of course, some unpredictable changes like global warming, disrupted supply chains, and so on. So SMEs in general are faced with the necessity of adopting new market and social concepts and models, and they are struggling to keep up with this pace and new needs. So the main goal of the project is to support the transformation of SMEs to SMEs ready for the future. We are targeting low and medium levels of technological advancement SMEs, and we are preparing them for future challenges in 4 pillars: innovation culture, which is the topic of this first training, then digital manufacturing, open innovations and sharing economy, and green and circular economy and sustainability. Another goal is to develop new service models for universities and business support organizations. The whole project is based on the quintuple helix innovation model approach. So because of this concept, the partners in the project are 4 higher education institutions and 4 intermediaries. We call them like that. They are basically business support organizations from Central Europe, and you can see them here. And until now, we finalized these activities, so I want to present them to you in case you are interested in and you need some additional information. Just feel free to contact us. So the first thing that we finalized is the inspiration knowledge base. Here is the link to the page. We will send you, of course, this presentation, so you will be able to access it also later on. This inspiration knowledge base is like it is a repository of some good practices and webinars and other materials that we developed through the project. And feel free to register, and you will be able to take a look at the webinars that we organized in the previous project period. The second one is the development of the audit methodology that allowed us to assess the level of advancement of the SMEs in these 4 pillars that I mentioned previously. And this tool was finalized, and we performed the testing with the help of 160, more than 160 SMEs. We are now working on some additional polishing based on this testing, but the SMERF diagnosis tool is already available. So it looks mainly like this is one part, just to give you like a clue about how it looks. And you can access it, and you can register, and you can we invite you to perform the assessment, because it shows how you perform in each of these pillars, and then it gives some activities, suggestion of the activities that you should focus on in the next period. Based on this performed assessment by the testing companies, we started with implementation of the trainings. So this is one of the 8 trainings that will follow in the next period. One was yesterday, and then we have this today, and the other ones will be in the next period. So if you are interested to join, just go to the link that we will send you, and just register for the information about additional upcoming trainings, and we will send you the information. So I want just to give a short overview about the future activities. So we are planning, we call it InnoGreen Market event that will be organized at the Annual Forum for Industrial Innovation. It is in Linz in the 23rd of September. This is the possibility for SMEs to network with large companies and other stakeholders to exchange experiences and build cooperation. Each project partner can bring up to 2 SMEs to this event. So we will for sure inform you about this possibility in case you are interested already and see it as an opportunity. Just write to us and we will connect you with a relevant partner that can support you. We also plan for the period from September until March 2 study visits, and we will bring on some SMEs and higher education institutions to see and some best practices and meet large enterprises. Other activities which are important is the individual support program. We will support 3 SMEs per project partner. And in case you didn't fill in yet this assessment, we invite you to do it, because those that fill in the assessment will be eligible for this supporting program, and which consists of free of charge individual mentorship and consultation with experts related to topics of the 4 pillars. So once again, innovation culture, digital manufacturing, open innovation and sharing economy, and circular economy. And then we'll have one big stakeholder event, workshop for policymakers. So that's it from about the project. This is our link. So again, feel free to contact us. I will now stop sharing, and I will take the opportunity to give the word to Alen Marot. He will be our lecturer for today, and I will just go in and be like a support. So Alen, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I can see that we have a nice group to work with. Just to present myself, introduce myself. My name is Alen Marot. I work in Croatia as a business consultant, specialized in area of, well, HR, but what we like to say that we help companies with the human part of their business. I'm a psychologist. I have a degree in psychology. So what I do is I try to translate the knowledge and findings from psychology to business area, and to help business owners and managers to understand the behavior and thinking of their employees or their buyers, of themselves, to improve their performance, satisfaction, and business success. And I've been doing that for 20 years. Through that time, I learned many things that are not just psychology. I learned a lot about management. I understood something about systems and how to improve systems. So I've been through education by William Edwards Deming Institute in the US, and I thought some useful things about total quality management, which is not very familiar subject or name, but I will explain a bit more what it is about, because today's education is based on that approach. Afterwards, I worked with a British consulting company called Vanguard Consulting. What we did was we applied these systems thinking principles in the area of service organizations. And one part of that approach you will also learn today. Most of the time, we work with small and medium companies, although we did work with some state companies and big corporations, but most of my experience is with small and medium companies in this area. And I must say, innovation is not something that we intentionally come and do with the companies, but it is very often a result or side effect of the things we do. So it's not just that someone hires us, raise our innovation level or innovation culture. That's not a usual request we get from the companies, but it happens. They hire us for some other reason, and what we do with the companies usually triggers and raises the innovation inside the company. And I will try to present part of that approach and some technologies that will help you raise innovation in your company if that's something that you want and need. Also, we will discuss that part, why there is a resistance towards innovation and change in the companies at the very end. I hope we will have enough time. Innovation is a huge area. We could talk about that for days. It was a challenge to choose the most useful and at the same time rounded concepts and techniques to present you in these 3 hours, which is long time and short time at the same time. So what I need to tell you that it is too long for a lecture, in my opinion. It's very difficult to hold anyone's attention for that long time by just lecturing. So my idea is to turn this into a small workshop, just to make it interactive and also to help you implement the concept immediately in your companies or in your thinking about what you actually do. So your cameras are mostly off, but I hope that your attention is on the topic, because at certain moments I will ask you to join in and to pay full attention and do some easy short work to help you understand the concepts better and to practice at the same time. We will cover broadly 3 or 4 areas. First of all, we will discuss a bit about innovation, creativity, productivity as a concept, to understand what innovation, how it can be described and how we can think about it. Then we will move on to a part where we will try to address the idea that creativity as a part of innovation is at one point or on one level is a trait that you are born with, and we all know people who are more creative than the others. But on the other hand, there are technologies and ways and methods that can help you improve your creativity as a person, but especially as a team. So we will talk about brainstorming and some other approaches to raise the number of ideas we are able to produce in order to solve a problem. And the last part will be about organizational aspect of innovation. I will present you one approach. This is why this is called innovation from outside in. One approach that can help you drive innovation using your customers as a driver. And I will show you some examples how it was done in some famous world companies and corporations, but also some examples from local small and medium enterprises. I planned a break somewhere around the middle, so you can plan around that, as we will have 10 or 15 minutes break in the middle of the education. We will see how fast we move through the subjects, if that's okay with you. That's it. We can start if you're ready. I will start the slides just to help you visually track what I am saying. Okay. So the first part I mentioned is that we will talk about what's the similarity and what's the difference between creativity and innovation. Sometimes we treat it as the same, but we usually know that there is a slight difference. Creativity is usually described as having the ability to create ideas. So that's something that is our ability that we think in a way to generate many ideas. So that would be creativity. Sometimes, so it's creating something new. It can be a painting, it can be a writing, it can be a product. But being creative means you create something that didn't exist before. It could be just an idea. It's a scientist coming up with a new idea, kids coming up with a new idea, what they can do. All that is can be described as creativity. Innovation is something else. Innovation is creativity in application. So in order to be innovative in our companies, we need to be creative. That's a prerequisite. There is no innovation without creativity, but that it's not enough. In order to be innovative, in order to have innovation, we need to apply the creativity. We need to make this idea, put this idea into practice. So this is the reason why this is described as a productive process. It's not thinking process as creativity, because to be creative, you just need to have a new idea. But in order to be innovative, you need to put this creativity in application. You need to have actual productive process. And you all know that. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a manager, but especially if you're an entrepreneur, you have ideas every day. Most of the entrepreneurs are creative. They come up with new ways of thinking, new ways of looking at the reality, at the products, and they usually have them every day. If you're working for an entrepreneur, then you can feel it from the other side. You have a manager or director or owner who is coming with new ideas every day, and the old ones never took place. You never put it through this application, but there is already a new one, and sometimes that can be very disturbing and very demands a lot of effort to swim in that kind of company. So that's the reason why this is something you need to balance. You need to develop your innovation and develop these two parts, two skills that can be developed. So the first one, the first set of skills are discovery skills, and the second one are delivery skills. So this is what combined makes innovation. What does it mean? What are discovery skills and what are delivery skills? So I would read out what's on the slide just to make it easier. So the discovery skill is, by definition, is your ability to generate, identify, or uncover new ideas, opportunities, or customer needs. So this is basically similar to creativity, but it's interesting because you can generate, you can identify something that, identify or uncover something that's already been there, but no one saw it. And this is why it's usually called discovery. I believe that Nikola Tesla once said, I never invented something that wasn't there. I just discovered something that was already present. And the approach of customer in mentality will help you. We will talk about the concrete ideas and methods how to uncover new opportunities the other people, your competition maybe didn't see or you didn't see so far. So how you do it through curiosity, exploration, and insight. So for example, there is a small appliance company, and what they did, so they explored opportunities by interviewing customers. And what they discovered was that the people, I don't know if you're one of them. Actually, I recently had this kind of conversation during a breakfast in one hotel where they served freshly squeezed juice, fruit juice. And what they did, they have some kind of blender. And we all agreed on that this is great juice. It tastes really good. It was not a blender, it was that extraction juicer, different kind of. And most of us agreed that at one point we all wanted this kind of juicer. Most of us got it, but it was so difficult to maintain and to clean that we gave it away to someone who also wanted it. So this is one of the things that moves around because it seems as a great idea. It is for a while, and this company overheard that kind of conversation, or actually asked their customers, and they found out that cleaning the juicers is something everybody hates, and sometimes they give up on them for that reasons. So this is the discovery they got. And from that, they got the idea to develop a self-cleaning mini blender. Okay, sounds great. Self-cleaning mini blender. And this is something that customers didn't explicitly ask for. That's interesting because we will come back to that. It's not that you will hear the ideas, oh, if only someone made this for us. No, what you get through this discovery process, you uncover the problems, the needs, the everyday experiences your customers have, and then there is your ability or skill to apply your knowledge from the area to develop a solution for the problem you discovered. So what they did, they wanted to decide to make this self-cleaning mini blender. Great idea, new one, no one does it before, no one does it at the moment, so it's great. So this is discovery skill, okay? It takes your exploration, you need to, it's good to talk to your customers, and then it takes you to, in a creative way, apply your knowledge from the area you're working with, and to come up with a solution no one else came up with before. So this is about finding the right problem to solve. Delivery skill is the next part. And you probably know, you probably had the ideas already that you never delivered on because you missed this part of the skill. So this is ability to turn an idea into viable product, service, or process. Okay, turn the idea, okay, we want to make this kind of blender, but can we do it that it really works, it's reliable, it's easy to use, we can come up with a production process. At the moment I work with a company that came up with that's usually the second part. So you come up with they came up with a modular wooden house that's used for fast foods and this kind of events during the summer and during the winter. And it's innovative, it's different in many ways. So they made a dozen of different variations, presented it to the customers who decided, yes, this is great, your price is okay, and we want to buy 20 pieces. One customer, the other one 30. And now what's happening, they're afraid of what happens if someone decides to buy, I want 50, because they offered it on an international market, it might happen. Why? Because they did design a product, but now they need a process. They need the manufacturing process to turn their small company into a factory of wooden houses. And that's a challenge. You don't, it's not enough to have a good idea. Now your next challenge is how to develop a reliable, cost-effective process that will produce your idea in a reliable and effective way. So what you need to do is, with effective execution, resource management, and attention to quality, timelines, you need to present it in the market in a good way, and so on. So for example, once this mini blender idea is selected, the company uses local suppliers, 3D printing prototypes, quick customer feedback loops to build and launch the product within 4 months, staying within budget. All that is important in order to deliver on your idea that you creatively invented in your discovery part. Okay? I hope you get these two parts, which are equally important, because if you discover without delivery, if you're good on this part, but you have ideas that never reach customers, and that happens a lot. On the other hand, if you have delivery without discovery, you're efficient in building things no one really wants. That happens a lot. For instance, the very old example of the second part is carburetor manufacturers. I know no one actually really remembers carburetors. It's a part of car that was before injection systems. And they existed for hundreds of years and made better and better carburetors, but they never noticed that the technology is moving forward and no one actually really needs those really well-built carburetors. So you need to be careful not to have a problem or to be on the one or the other side. So if you want to have an innovative team, you need to have a balance between generating new ideas and implementing and delivering products and services based on those ideas. Working with small and medium companies, this is something I've seen many times, and that was it was usually perceived as a problem. But for the last few years, I tried to point it out as an inevitable part of running a business. And actually, it's a good part of running a business. And what I'm talking about is the tension between entrepreneurs with always new ideas, innovative ideas no one ever thought of, and the middle management, which are usually the ones that need to make it happen. And both of them are all the time frustrated with each other. So the entrepreneurs tell us the stories about, well, these middle managers, they're just thinking about the problems, what can go wrong, why this won't work, and it's a great idea, we should do it, we need to stay ahead of our competition, I don't know what to do with that. And then we go and talk to the middle managers, and they're just, oh, this our manager, that's our director, I don't know what to do. We just get one idea, we get half through the implementation. We don't know even if it works. We need to brush and to polish it, just work it well, or it just started to work well and to bring us some results. We can relax for a while. Our customers get used to it. We can track our effectiveness and the results, and all of a sudden they have a new idea. And we need to forget this one and we jump into a new one. And the idea is not real. They don't spend enough time in the shop area. So they don't know how it needs to, what it all takes to make it happen. And this tension is all the time. And it's basically between these parts of, two parts of innovative team. So you need to have one part of the team that discovers the new ways, discovers the new ideas, but also you need to have these operational people who understand what it takes to make it happen in the market, to make it work on everyday basis, how much it's going to cost, what does it take from the human resources base, do we have people able to do it, all these ideas that come afterwards. So this balance or tension, which in my opinion is good, it's frustrating, but it needs to exist and to be appreciated by the people in the company, because it creates this kind of innovation which is reliable, sustainable through the long time. So that's what I wanted to tell you and to bring to you. Now, maybe you can take a minute and try and rate your team. How would you rate your team from 1 to 5 on generating new ideas? And how would you rate your team on delivery on new ideas? If you want to share it, you can do it for yourself. If you want to share it, you can share it in chat just to see where are you and where are we at the moment. Just put in new generating 1, I think 3. On which part? You're 3 on generating new ideas or delivery on new ideas? Try to put in both.
Both.
3 on both. Okay.
Yeah.
It's balanced. It's
Yeah.
balanced.
But it could be even better because it's limited by the time
Okay.
that we have.
Yeah. Okay. Michael, on the first one, generating 5, but delivery is 1. Okay. So there's a big difference. A lot of new ideas, great ideas, but lack of skills to deliver them to the customers. Okay. Anyone else? You can turn on your. Okay. Lea says, okay, 3, because of the low institutional innovation culture. Okay. And this is, if you're talking about institution, so it's probably not private sector, it's some kind of institution. That's very usual. And in a way, it's normal because the big institutions are filled with bureaucracy, with procedures. There's a lot of levels that decision needs to go through, because in a way, you want your institutions to be stable. And they're designed to be stable, reliable, and in a way slow. But so that's why any innovation, usually if you're innovative in that kind of institution, you're very frustrated because there is a big resistance towards innovation. Every change is very difficult to make happen, and people don't like that because it will create all kinds of problems. It will be very hard, and they resist towards that. Okay. Okay, Stephanie says, very good, or 5 on creating ideas, but also, okay, that's interesting, innovation manager. So that's a role that works on this part.
Yes. It's what I do all day, like generating new ideas and trying to deliver them. So I'm a bit biased, I would say, but maybe 5 and 4 is a bit ambitious. But on my point of view, I'm doing nothing else than that all day long.
Well, I must say, if your company has an innovation manager who's full-time involved and engaged in making it happen, then probably you're much higher than most of the companies where that's left to managers along with their everyday work.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Maybe you're not that unrealistic. So that's interesting to see. Great. Okay. So why did it ask you to rate on this? Just to focus your attention on what do you need. Basically, if you're low on delivery, what you should focus on is education and selection of people who are high on management skills. So, for instance, what this company that made these wooden houses now needs, they don't really need. For a long time, they were very focused on R&D and sales. Now they need to learn how to manage business process, how to make manufacturing process. So to make it happen reliably, cheap, and in a productive way. So you need to develop this kind of skills. And that's quite okay. Just you need to understand that there is a time when you need to learn about it or hire people that are already good with that. And I did advise them to try and find a production manager who already has the skills, just to make it faster instead of them learning about big serious manufacturing. So on the other hand, if you're rated yourself low on discovery, you're in the right place. This is what today's seminar is basically about. Okay. So this is some kind of context for what's about to come next. Let's play a little. Creativity. I already told you, I can't answer this question now as I never asked it before, because I told you in a way that creativity is something that you can develop. And I will offer you some approaches that might help you with that. But for a long time, there was a strong belief that it's a trait. So it's something that you're born with, and you can't do much about that. In a way, in the part, that is true. You know that some people are easily creative, and for the others, it takes a lot of effort, and the creativity is very low. So for a long time, there is even, I told you I'm a psychologist, so what we do is we test people, we appraise, or we try to measure these kind of traits. And one of them was creativity. When I applied for my university, part of the selection process was measuring creativity. I'm still not sure why a psychologist needs to be creative. Part of it was a scientific degree. So sometimes in your research, you come up with results that you really need to be creative to make some sense out of them. So maybe that's why they measured our creativity. I'm not sure about my result, though. Let's try and measure your creativity. So this is the usual creativity test that is traditionally used for this purpose. So in 1 minute, take a piece of paper or a Word document, whatever makes it easier for you. And in 1 minute, try and list as many uses for this object I will show you now. So as many possible ways this object can be used. I need something to measure time, to make it precise. So we need 1 minute. And if you're ready or not, this is the object. Go now. Twenty more seconds. So as many uses for this object as possible. Okay. That's a minute gone. Write down the last one, if you have one in your mind. And please, in the chat, write down the number, not the uses, just the number, how many you got in 1 minute. No matter how stupid they are or crazy or whatever. Five, 5, 7, 6, 5. Okay. Okay. So it's between 5 and the best one is Sarah with 7. Okay, Sarah, let's start. Let's start with you, if you don't mind. Can you write down or tell me? Do you see the documents? Do you see the Word document?
Yes, sorry, I counted wrong. It was actually 6, so I'm the same as Jana
Okay,
and
never mind.
Stephanie.
We just need someone to start with, so it's not that important. Please tell me.
Okay, so first for the clothes, right? For hanging the clothes.
Hanging the clothes, yes. The obvious one.
Maybe some reasons are a bit stupid, but I will tell them
That's just
anyway.
fine. That's just fine.
It's what came in my mind. Then to like pinch your nose when something is
Yeah.
stinky.
Yes. To block it. Okay.
Yes. Then to seal the bags of chips.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
To hang the pictures, the photos on your wall.
You take this line and then you use.
Yes, like how do you say it? String, and
Yep.
then you hang it
Yep.
on the string.
Okay.
To secure the high stems of plants like orchids. I personally do it,
Yeah.
but with those small ones.
Yeah, you actually get the small ones when you buy these plants.
Yes, but they are for your hair, but I
Yeah.
buy the small
Yeah.
ones, like decorative ones.
Great.
And to secure papers. When you have a bunch of papers that, I don't know, you don't have
As a paper
anything.
clip, as a paper clip, actually.
Yes, as a paper clip.
Okay. So this is the six ones. Huh? Now fill in the other ones. Do you have something that Sarah didn't get? Thank you, Sarah.
Well, I use it with my child to make some kind of toys, for example, wooden puppets, and sometimes airplanes.
Airplanes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just take a piece of paper and put it in between and it becomes a small airplane.
Okay, great. Someone else?
I can add something. I have some topics Sarah already told, but I have also to hang your advent calendar bags. I don't know if you know what I mean. If you have a string and you put down the bags for your advent calendar.
Calendar.
Calendar. It's called advent calendar. I don't know how it's called in English.
Okay. Yeah.
24 days before.
Okay. We need to struggle with the accents here, so
yeah.
okay, that's fine.
Then I have as a bookmark.
Yeah.
Then clipping notes together, but I think that's also with paperclip.
Paperclip, yeah, that would be the same.
And I have organizing cords, like your phone.
Yeah, good one. Great, thank you. Someone else, you can type it in chat or turn on your mic, whatever.
From my side, I just remembered what I did as a kid. I wore it as a earring.
Earring?
Yeah.
Why not?
It was when I didn't have any earrings, so. But now I don't do it anymore.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Yes, I got something else. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I got something to put parts together if you glue something in the work process, you know? And then you can make also name card or sticker or badge holders out of it.
Okay.
So you can stick or glue some name badge on it and stick
Ah,
it to the clothes, or glue something funny on it, like a sun badge or a smiley badge, and stick it to the clothes. So
mhm,
then, uh, then probably the resource is wood, so you can burn it. If it's
great.
cold and you
Great.
have nothing else, you have no timber or firewood at home,
Yep,
but it's disposed, then it's under okay.
great. Great. This I can get it. Is there something more, Mikhail?
Yes, I got, but yeah, the same like the others
Yeah,
have told you already. You have
great.
already on your list. Thank you.
I can tell that your ones really are a bit more creative than the other ones. You moved on to the next level. So your previous when you said that you're 5 on Discovery, it might really be realistic. Do you have any new ideas? You can see now. So we have hang the clothes, pinch the nose to block it, seal the chips bag, hang the pictures on the wall, secure the stems of plants, paper clips, toys for a child, make a small airplane. Does anything new come to your mind that you didn't write previously?
Maybe you can use it during the team challenge, how to build a skyscraper out of
Uh-huh.
those.
Yeah, you can. Come on.
I sometimes put them on the curtains when I open the window and the wind is flowing through the apartment, so the curtains don't fly out of the window.
Great.
I don't know if anyone else does it.
we might now when we have the idea.
It's a good
Great.
idea.
Curtain holder. Okay. Someone else? Just jump in. Bookmark. Maya says bookmark. We already have bookmark. Okay. Try a couple of more. Okay. What can we learn from this exercise? What happened? What can we see from this list?
That is the team we created more ideas.
Mm-hmm. So the best between you were on 6, and all together when we combine them, there were 15. So that's the basic thing, that the teams are more creative than the most creative individuals. That's the first lesson. I said that altogether there were 15, and now we have 17. Where these 2 additional ones came from? That's something else we can learn. It came from building on someone else's ideas. So usually when you do it live, it happens a lot. So we usually stop, let's say we do it live, we stop at 15 or 17. There are people who came up with 9 or 10, even 10 on their own. So we have a longer list. But what inevitably happens is that you get inspired by someone else's idea, and then you come up with an idea you would never come up on your own. So this is something that's valuable to learn, that creativity is better in teams, in good teams, and what happens is that we inspire each other's ideas. So that's basically the lesson from this. Thank you for your help. We'll go back to the story. So a group is more creative than the most creative individual, and you build on each other's ideas. So that's the basic of the most popular creativity technique you all heard of, and probably most of you participating in some kind of brainstorming. This is a good approach when you get blocked, when you're suddenly in a position that nothing you came up with works. We have a problem, we tried all the solutions, none of them work. now we need something new, creative, out of the box. Or we came to the limit with this current way of working. It is working, but it's not good enough. We want something new. We want something innovative. Then you can come start brainstorming. I guess you probably already did it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works better, sometimes it works well, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's frustrating. These are some of the ideas that might help you in your next time you try to use this technique. So the main idea of brainstorming and the main psychological trick you need to play with the participants is to strictly separate two phases. One is production of ideas, and the other one is evaluation of ideas. So this is basically what I told you about entrepreneurs and the middle management. It's the same schism, the same thing that happens in our minds, and the trick is to separate it as much as possible. What does it mean? You heard at the very beginning, I asked Sarah to tell me what she wrote, and the first thing she said, well, some of them are stupid. And this is the main reason why the brainstorming doesn't work. We are afraid to say something stupid. And this is something that's deep inside of us. We don't come up as a stupid among our colleagues, among other people in our team. And this is why we hold back the most creative ideas. And the truth is that many of the ideas that come up in brainstorming are not deliverable. They're not possible to go through this delivery phase. But why we do need them, because there is what we saw before, that they trigger some other ideas. That's very important. That it's not important if your idea is good or doable. The important is that it's original, it's different, it might lead us in a different way, in this lateral thinking that we are not able otherwise. So how is it done? Someone needs to manage this part. So the thing is that it happens. Someone, usually on a subtle level, someone smiles. Two people in the team look each other when someone else gives an idea and turn their eyes. Or there is a sigh, or all these signs can block the person to give some more idea, or someone else to give an original idea, in order to avoid this kind of reaction. So you need to be really careful to make a good introduction, and then to strictly react when any of this kind of evaluation happens during the production phase. Say, okay, I know this is not important, this is a great idea, we need more of such ideas in order to come with something that really works. So I'll just guide through the steps. You will have them in the presentation afterwards, but you will see that this is the main idea which is on this slide. All the other parts are just small tricks to implement what's written here. The first part of good brainstorming is to define the objective clearly, what we're talking about, what we want to accomplish. So, for instance, good idea is how might we attract new customers under the age of 30? Bad one is, do we have some new marketing ideas? This is too broad. Try to narrow it down, and we try to be focused. It creates better ideas if we are aiming at a certain defined problem. Then what is important is to choose the right group. About the size, usually if you want any kind of interaction, 5 to 8 people is ideal. When there is more than 8, usually some of them will zone out and won't be able to join in, and there will just be someone who's bystander over there. You don't need that. When it's less than 5, you will lose some of creativity. Sometimes, and very often actually, it helps to include people from different roles. So you want someone who's on management role, who is in sales, someone who is manufacturing, also from different backgrounds. You want students fresh from the university as well as experienced people in your company. You want economists and engineers. All that will help to broaden the ideas. So make it usually makes it difficult, but in this situation, you need as many different approaches as possible. And then this is what's important. Just at the beginning of the session, explain the ground rules. And these are, we defer judgment. We don't judge now. We will write it down. Now we will produce as many as possible. So we are here for the quantity, not the quality of the ideas. We need the biggest number. We will judge them later on. We want wild ideas. We want something different, and that's because that doesn't mean we will implement the wild ones, but they will trigger the good ones. We will build on others' ideas. Actually, so it's okay if it's not idea, but you build on someone else's, that's just fine. It's not about the ownership of the idea. It will be the team idea. Being visual usually helps. So if you have any kind of whiteboards or this kind of what I try to use, as you saw, when it's visual, when it's in front of you, it's easier to remember some previous idea and build on them and combine them. And the last rule is to have one conversation at a time, because if you have this kind of group of 7-8 people, sometimes 3 or 4 of them will create a circle and bounce ideas between them, and the other circle will form. You don't want that. You want them to be one group that plays with the idea. So this is good to point out at the beginning, how we're gonna work, what are the rules, but it doesn't always help. During the session, you need to manage it. You need to point out, hey, remember what we agreed on at the very beginning. Don't judge. Go on. Just it doesn't matter whose idea it is. Just to remind them of the rules. This is something that might help you. We don't really have time now to play with it, but these are some ideas to warm up. Just to we will check that afterwards. We are usually blocked by our thinking, so it's good to make it a game, to turn it into a game where this is not so serious. We need to play with our thinking. So these are some warm-ups you can try as idea as an introduction to the good session. So the first one is bad ideas only. Set a silly challenge. For instance, how would we make people hate our product? How we can make it worse? Give us the worst ideas you have, and laugh and point out this is really great. This would really ruin our business. This is a great idea. Just to loosen up the thinking. Or this is something that's called word association chain. So you just play with associations that takes out the reasoning, takes out the judgment. For example, delivery, what it reminds you of. Pizza, oh, what it reminds you of. Oh, it's late. Late reminds you of stress. What stress reminds you of? Email. So you just play with adding on the association chain. It's a simple game, but it's good to loosen these mental filters. You can play with inventing a useless product. We could try to do that. Well, invent a product that solves a problem no one has. For instance, a hat that reminds you to blink if you forget for some reason. No one needs that, but it would be fun to have. That you have a hat and it says blink now. So that are some ideas. Or this is a fun one. Present a common object and ask, how could this be used to solve our problem? we can play with it. For instance, you find something in your area and you take out a spoon and say, how we could use a spoon to increase customer loyalty. Any ideas? You can give it as a gift. For every 10th product someone buys, they get a spoon. After 12 spoons, do you give them a case to hold the spoons in it, for instance? It's crazy. It depends on what you do, but that might be a way. We can create some kind of loyalty card with the spoon as a symbol, whatever. Okay, so you can try some of them. And the next part is idea generation. What you need to do is you present the challenge question again, and then you can choose the format. It depends on your team. So you can say, well, we jump in. If you're a good team, there are no restraints. You can say, just jump in. Or you can get at least one round of, it's round robin. Each person shares one idea, and you write it down, or you put their sticky note or there. You can use what we did in this exercise, that you first do the silent brainstorm. So you first ask people, okay, write down all the ideas you have on your own, because that can be a good one. Then you can use post-it stickers and arrange it, mix them up on the board, so all of them will be visible. Because what happens is when anyone starts with their own idea, people usually follow in that direction, and then you lose all the ideas they would come up on their own. And this is the way to get them all together. So spend 2 minutes, write your own ideas, stick them up, and now we go round robin or jump in or whatever. This is the idea, the same idea with sticky note. Or on Zoom, you can, what we did, you open a document, or it can be, I open my own Word, but I could open a Google Doc and we all jump in and write in the same document. It might be fun because we don't even need to speak about it. So you have less resistance, less fear of being judged or laughed at your idea. So do you have any experiences on what works best with your team? Do you try any of those or all of those?
I always do it like you have already mentioned. So we start with brainwriting, because we have in the group sometimes people who are quite shy and some people who are really loud. And it's always, I think, the best, like, to have some minutes on their own, and then they discuss and build on the other ideas. So I think that's a really good approach.
Yeah, that's, if you don't know your team, it's best to start with this kind of safe system. It's always like that in all the teams. They're loud ones who take over the communication. Yeah, okay. Some other experiences with brainstorming?
Yeah, the same.
The same. Okay, try with brainwriting then, and then turn on to this interactive mode. Cool. What you can do is encourage building on ideas. What if you combine this idea with that one? How could you make this idea work with no budget or something else? We will go through this on this one, on this method, and we'll jump through on the other ones, because it's important. Sometimes this is the delivery part. So, okay, we came up with a huge number of ideas. It was fun, but what now? Now it's a part of a process which is evaluation. So the first part is usually group and cluster ideas. With this quote spin, we had different ways to use it. Then we had one part which is with, I don't know, it can be decoration, it can be clothes, it can be use it in separate it in parts and then use the parts. So you can group and cluster ideas. And then you can prioritize. For example, this dot voting is quite a good one. You can do it electronically, even using Menti or something else. But you can do it physically. You give everyone small dots, stickable, and ask them to separate, to distribute them on the ideas they like the best. Or you can do something that's more objective. It's not based on opinion. Is how to this is one to effort impact metrics. What value will they bring us, and how difficult they are to deliver. And the last part is obviously to pick small number of ideas for deeper exploration. So this is part when you need to explore. You have some data at the moment. This is also my experience. People usually discuss for a long time using only their opinions. This is a good idea. This is expensive. This will never work. People won't like it. And that's usually a waste of time. Stop it, block it, and go and get the data. Data is always more useful than opinions. So that's something that's good to be reminded of. If the discussion takes too long, the opinions are different, break it, go and find the data, then come back with the data, and that's usually much faster and more effective. And the follow-up is usually useful if you have time. Try and document everything, all the ideas, not just the winners. Give people what was discussed. Sometimes some ideas turn into something else in some different areas, so they might be useful. And what's important after every meeting, assign next steps. So it's clear who will do what, when, and in what way, how they will report back. And do a short reflection on the process. What worked well in the session? Did we manage to keep with the rules? What helped? So what can we learn to be more effective the next time? So that would be a follow-up. Okay. That's basically what makes a good brainstorming. You probably all did it, but maybe you missed, or you could use one of those techniques. Let's move on, just for a little bit more exercise, but also it will give us a good point. So this is a challenge for you. You need to connect. You can't do it on your screen. You need to draw it in on your paper. And the challenge is you need to connect all the 9 dots using 4 or fewer straight lines. Okay. Without lifting your pen from the paper. So connect all 9 dots with 4 or fewer straight lines without lifting your pen from the paper. Give it a try. Some of you maybe saw that before. So it's 4 or less straight lines, not lifting the pen. Anyone close? No? Did anyone do it? My advice would be just to use an example I heard recently. Lea mentioned building a tower out of something as an exercise for team effort and team effectiveness. I heard a story about that that actually when they measured the success rate, so what you do, you give people something like toothpicks or some pieces and ask them to build a tower that is as high as possible in a limited time. And what turned out is that children are the most successful ones doing that. They're more successful than executives, engineers, salespeople, or any other group they try to measure. And what they noticed when they looked at them and what they did different was, instead of thinking about it, what CEOs and engineers usually do, they think about it and discuss it a lot. They go and try. They don't think about it. They give it a try, and that works better than thinking. So maybe that might help you to solve this. Try it as many times as possible. You might turn up with a solution. Anyone? No?
I did it.
You did it.
Yes.
Sarah again. Okay.
Yes.
Can you show it to us?
How?
Turn on your camera and show us the paper.
Wait, it's just a second. That's a bit complicated because my camera is on the laptop that is far from me, so
Okay.
I can try to explain, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
So you literally need to step out of the box. I connected the dots with 3 lines. The first one goes from the left side through the top of the first dot to the through the
Okay.
middle of the second dot and through the lowest point of the third dot. And I'm going to need to wait because I didn't. I'm
Okay.
going to draw it and then I'm going to try to show you. Wait.
Okay. I saw that I made a mistake on my presentation, so I need to fix it. Sorry. In order to show you the same one. So this. Sarah was talking about stepping out of the box. I can't see the box, any box over on this picture, but there obviously there is one. Okay, I'll try and do it. Sorry, give me a moment. Oh, Sarah might be the quicker one.
Yes, okay. My lines are not straight right now, but I think you get the picture. Wait, I need to unblur myself. Do you see it?
Just a second.
I mean, it's I made it by my hand, so it's not really straight.
Okay. Okay. So you, in order to make it straight, you would need more paper. Oh, Mikael. Yeah. Great. You did miss one spot, but basically that's it. So these are the 2 solutions of this problem. This is the first one. Okay. This is this is Mikael's one, and this is Sarah's one, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
This is straight.
Okay, but you need a lot of space. So the question is, what prevented you from solving the problem? It's easy now when you see it, but what prevented you, the other ones, from solving the problem? Is it something that was from the outside or from within you? The usual answer, Stephanie, yeah?
No, sorry. I was unmuted. Sorry. No.
Just, okay. Maybe you can tell us.
No, sorry. I did not listen. I'm sorry. Just got an email.
Okay. What usually the answer we usually get, why didn't you solve the problem, is that the answer is you didn't tell us that we can go outside of the box, and we didn't tell you can't. So sometimes we create our own limitations. We come up with some rules that don't really exist. We just think they are there because it's usually how it's usually happening. So that prevents us from this. And I will give you now, at the end of this first part, two options, two ways to jump out or to break these limitations. And the first one is something that Mikael already did in a way. So this is attribute listing. And what it does is that it separates function from attributes. So what most of you did is that this is clothespin, so we use it to pin something. You thought of different way of using the same function. And what we had, if we go back to the list, you can see that it's all about pinching, hanging. It's all about using the function. And the only one that separated these two parts, some attribute from the function, was the one burn it. Because it broke the idea it's a pin. No, it's just a piece of wood that we usually use as a pin. And if we go to that area, to that way of thinking, then we can understand, okay, it's just a piece of wood. We can use it for burning. The other things you can think about are, just a second. Material is wood, okay. Shape, texture, rigidity, strength, the color. So if you go through that line, do any other uses of this quote pin come to your mind? When you look at its shape, what can it be used for instance? You can put it under the doors not to open, for instance. That's the first one that comes to my mind. Anyone else? It can help you to open some kind of tin. Okay. It's rigid, it's firm, so can you use it for that? Can you use that attribute for something else? Yeah. Okay, I lost you. It seems to be a part of time for a break. So the core, the strength, this is the idea. So what you do is that you take what you have. Oh, there's something in chat. Sorry, I'm missing that part. Use it as a decoration in the hundreds and thousands. Hundreds and thousands of what, Christian? Michael. Use it for eating. Fork. Great. You're using.
Yes, you can decorate it. For example, if you have a wall and you can glue it, glue many of both parts on the wall, just to give the wall a texture, between. If the light goes over it, it isn't just a plain wall. But it creates a texture. Just And the other one is just pick up some food with it, like sushi or things like that.
Yeah, great.
Or things you don't want to touch, you can pick it up with it.
You can use it as a spoon even when you separate the two parts. This is something that's a limitation we put on ourselves. The clothespin can be separated in 3 parts, and each part can be used in a different way. You can use it even as a spoon, as a small spoon to eat gelato or something. Great. You see now how it changes. Your perception changes when you look at the attributes instead of function. So you can do that with other things you come to the blockage with. And the last one, I think, is something that I learned from a great guy called Dennis Sherwood. This British company I told about asking to help us. We were faced with the problem that we had a method that helps to improve efficiency on a great level. But the public sector in the UK didn't want to listen to it or didn't want to accept it or the evidence we had. So we asked him to help us to find a great way how to approach public sector ministers or all the people who are in charge. We are the only Croatian or the Eastern Europeans over there, so we were inspiration for ideas like bring a bag of money, which wasn't funny for us at the moment, and it turned out that it's not very different over there. So Dennis Sherwood created a technique called innovation. His company is called Silver Bullet Machine. You can find it a lot of materials on this website. And here's the idea is that creativity is not a gift, and that great ideas come from recombining what already exists. He believes that brainstorming is limited because you start with a blank piece of paper, and that's not usually the case. It's better to come with what you already know and ask the creative question. How might this be different to unlock other alternatives? So this is the magic silver bullet question. How might this be different? And what you do is these steps, I will walk you through them through an example or to see what happens. So the first one is the same. Choose the object, process, service, or challenge you want to improve. You are not satisfied with. You want to make it better. That's the first part. It can be a clothespin if you're selling clothespins. It can be your customer experience or whatever you want to improve. That's the first part. Then you map what you already know. So this is feature mapping. It's similar to the previous idea, which opened new options. But this is the same. What is made of, how is it used, some physical attributes, where and how it's sold, who uses it, etc., etc. And sometimes it helps because we have an ability or we are biased towards seeing the things the way they are, they can't be changed. This is the way you do it. It's simple. It's always been like that. No one else does it in a different way. So it's not important to mention the obvious things. But sometimes what we believe it's like that, it's really just old-fashioned. I will show you one example. We have in okay, I'll need to move on, but I think this is important for this part. I don't need to show you. I just you need to look at the thing that we all have in front of us. You all have keyboards. And if you needed to guess, what would be your guess? What was the principle or the idea or the goal when the layout of the keys on your keyboard was created? So mostly we have either QWERTY or QWERTZ layout. It's always the same everywhere in the world. It's very, very similar. So what would be your idea why the layout is created, why the keys are in the positions they are in? What was the idea behind it? What would you say? Tell me, the obvious one. To make us type faster, right? That would be the obvious one. If everything around us is created to make us faster, more efficient. So obviously it was the keyboard. create it in the same way. And you don't ask yourselves if that was the case. You don't even ask, you just get it, you learn how to use it, and you use it every day. You don't ask why it is designed in this way. And because you don't ask this question, you don't notice that actually letter A, which is in most cases, in most languages, the most frequently used one, is located under your small finger. Doesn't make much sense, right? But you probably didn't even notice that. So there's something wrong. And to understand what is wrong is you need to go back to the history and to understand at what point and in what context these kind of keyboards were created. And the context is the typewriters. If you are old enough to remember the typewriters had the beds. So when you press the key, a small bed flies towards the paper, hits the ribbon, and prints the letter. And if you ever tried this kind of machine and try to use it, especially as a kid, and you try to hit the keys as fast as possible, do you remember what happened? Anyone? What happened? The beds got stuck, right? And if you go back to the history, the reason why we have this kind of layout is because it was important for the writers, to people using the typewriters, to slow down the typing in order to avoid this from happening. And we still have these kind of keyboards. We believe they are designed to make us type faster, and that's not true. They're designed. So there are a lot of things around us as these keyboards that we accept as they are, that we believe it's the best way for them to be designed. But maybe they're designed for something that is already gone, the context changed, but we were blind to them and we didn't change them. So that's why it's important to list all the features of the problem or the process or product we are trying to improve, as we think of it as explaining to a Martian who's never seen it. Okay, because sometimes the ideas are hidden in the most obvious places. And what we then do is the same as we did before. Break the whole into individual features. So for instance, clothespin is made of wood and metal, made of 2 parts. It's usually around 5 centimeters long. They're used to hang clothes, has a spring, kept in baskets, sold in 20 pieces packs. And the next question is the creative one, how this could be different. Can it be made for something else? For instance, clothespin. Crazy ideas, made of glass, made of steel. If they're made of steel, they would never break. That might be a good idea. Smaller, Saratogas used for your plants. Larger, who knows? It would be easier to cover Michael's wall with larger ones. It might be interesting design. Maybe we can use it in a different way if they were larger. They have a spring. Can we create ones without the spring? How would that look like? What would happen if they had 2 springs? Would it make it easier or more difficult to use them? That might be different. Comes to my mind. You can put it all on your line, and then just with the other spring, you hang your clothes. Might be interesting. They're sold in 20 pieces packs. That's usually how you buy clothespin. But sometimes some other things are sold in a different way. I don't know if you have that in your country. Over here, you can buy how you call that, towels in kilos, or dishes, pans made of metal. You can buy it in kilos. How would it look like if you're buying clothespins on kilo, as you buy peanuts, and then in the same way you sell the cloth. You can see how it opens new ideas, new options, when you ask this question, how this could be different. Okay? And then you move on in the same way as you did with brainstorming. Okay. And one last example before our break, which is very needed at the moment, is one part that this basically comes, if you ever came in touch with lean manufacturing. Lean came from Toyota. Toyota got their ideas about systems thinking from the Deming, William Adolph Deming I mentioned before. Unfortunately, his philosophy is kind of complicated and it comes to us in these small pieces disconnected from each other, but that's another story. This is one method that helps you ensure that your improvement is on appropriate level. What does it mean? If you improve on a lower superficial level, it usually comes up again. So this is the example that describes that. It's a simple one. There's a factory floor, and there's an oil spill on the floor. And you as a supervisor come up and you see there's a spill on the floor. Someone please clean the oil, right? That's the response on that level. Good supervisor will ask first why, and ask why is there an oil spill on the floor? And the usual answer is probably because the machine is leaking oil. Then you can ask, okay, you can ask someone, fix the machine, right? You can ask another why is the machine leaking oil? Because the seal is leaking. Okay, then the solution is change the seal. It's simple. And usually it stops here because the machine is not leaking oil anymore. But in order to create a long-term change, it's good to ask why one more. Why is the seal leaking? Well, because we bought seals made from lower quality material. Okay, that's interesting. So next time, please, I make a decision as a supervisor or director, buy better seals. If you want to really change the things, then you say, okay, but why did we buy seals made from lower quality material? What drove us to do such a thing? What is inside our system that's driving our purchasing people to make such a strange decision? And then you come up with answer from the other department. At this moment, you need to go out. Why did you buy this kind of seals? Because we got a big discount. Okay, makes sense. You're focused on discounts, but you created a lot of problems in our factory department or manufacturing department. So why did you focus on the discount instead of creating a reliable solution for the manufacturing? Because we have a practice or the policy where the purchasing officer is evaluated based on the savings compared to the base price, which is very usual policy in the companies. And this is creating, only if you change this kind of policy on this level, you will avoid this from happening again in this factory floor. And what will happen is that it will change something that didn't happen or you didn't notice in different other levels, because this policy is creating on other is influencing the other parts of the company. Thank you, Mikhail. Yes, okay. Toyota fan here, another one. Thank you. Taiichi Ono is the famous engineer from Toyota who started their Toyota way or Toyota thinking. Great book. So if you're interested in that part. So this is just something that give you a hint that sometimes the solutions are better if you spend a bit more time to understand the background, although this makes them more difficult to change, because you need to involve other departments and higher levels of management, but that creates sustainable change. Okay, everybody, I think it's high time for break, if you agree. let's make it 10 minutes. So 11:50, we're back over here. Okay. See you.
See you soon. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, are you back?
Okay, Alan.
Okay. Stephanie had to leave. Well, we leave sooner. That's fine. Okay. We told the cameras turned off. I can only hope that you are here. Okay, we'll see soon. So now we are at the beginning of the second part of this training or workshop, and it's about creating an organizational culture. That's very popular topic or popular theme, challenge, organizational culture. Some people wrote books on it. It's important. It's something that can restrict, block, or sustain innovation. All these methods are great. It can help you in these discovery skills. Be more creative, but if you don't have organizational culture that supports it, it just doesn't work. And I have experience with that. We did try, and I will show you at the very end, the example of how we try to implement the culture of or the methods of continuous improvement in one manufacturing company, and it didn't work. I still believe it was a good system, but it just didn't have the right drive or support from the leadership. Okay. So let me share again. So what would be the organizational culture? It's a big topic. Some people earn a lot of money consulting about organizational culture, but basically behind it, there is a very simple explanation. Peter Schultz, in his The Leader's Handbook, described it as the way we do it around here. Basically, that's the culture. It's not just organizational culture, it's national culture or regional culture. It's just the way we do it around here. So it's sometimes easier to observe it in this simple way. There are a lot of things behind it, why we do it in that way, why we use keyboards that were designed to slow us down, and all these questions, but we will get back to that. Michael, I don't know if you're familiar with Peter Schultz or everybody that's interested in systems thinking, total quality management, lean, or whatever. Toyota, this book, The Leader's Handbook, is something that will help you to go from philosophy and great ideas to implementation in everyday work. So it's a big recommendation. Okay, so that's what he said, and this is why I recommend the book, because he's simple in most of the stuff he presents in the book in the same way. He makes it very simple and understandable. So if you understand this is the way we do it around here, then we can move on and say that innovation in the company needs to be inspired, driven, and supported by organizational habits. This is the habits. The way we do it around here, it's usually the habits. We don't think about it. We don't judge it anymore. We don't challenge it in the same way we don't challenge our keyboards. We don't change the organizational habits. And in order to change the habit, to install the new habits in your organization, but also in your everyday life, you need three things. This is my model I came up with recently. Didn't invent it all by myself, but basically that it comes to this. So you need a proper mindset. You need to understand what's happening, what you're trying to accomplish. You need to understand the theory behind it. This is why I like in my trainings to give you some kind of theory to understand the background, instead of just giving you the tools. Many times, for instance, if you talk about lean and manufacturing, as we did before, they take out one part of the Toyota system or this system thinking and try to implement it in manufacturing just as it is. So if you worked in any factory, you probably came to the idea of 5S. So it's the way of organizing your workplace in order to make it more efficient. The thing is that it comes from Toyota. That's something they created and put in place to change their or to solve their particular problems they had. So if someone just tells you do it because it's Toyota does it, it must be it must be working. You don't have the proper mindset. You don't understand why it is important, what problem are you trying to solve. And it usually doesn't work. It works only with supervision for a certain time, and then it fades because people don't understand the mindset behind it. And this is the reason why you might be using the wrong tools, because you're solving the problems. You're using the tool that was designed to solve someone else's problems. It's not designed to solve your problems. That's a good teaching or learning I got from a consulting practice. It's better to develop your own tool using these principles we used before or anything else, and it's yours. It comes from your problem, from your ideas, from your thinking, and then it's the proper mindset. Or you need to understand the theory behind it. So that's understand what we are doing, why we are doing it, and why we believe it's going to work. The second part is the discipline. So you need to find a way to discipline yourself, and you can recognize that in your everyday life. If you want to change your habits about eating, exercise, whatever, you need some kind of discipline. You need to have reminders, so you have what usually works is you tell the other family members, from now on, I'm not eating sweets. Please, when you see me approach the sweets cabinet, try to stop me. So this is the way you create discipline to be reliably, to repeat the same thing for many times and not to slip into what's easier for you. And the last part is you need time. And this is where a lot of these efforts or initiatives fail, is that you do it for a short time, it's hard, you don't know how to do it, you don't have many results, it takes a lot of effort, and then you say, okay, this is not working, we give up. But basically, when you remember all the habits you have, at a certain point, they're incredibly difficult, and they demanded a lot of discipline, and you're inefficient when doing them. And now you don't need any effort, you don't need any discipline, it just works, and you're very efficient. We can go to the basic things. If you have small kids and you try to teach them to wash their teeth, you can probably recognize that. Why do we need to? It's difficult, it takes a long time. You need to teach them, come on, go from the outside in, you need to go through top teeth and bottom teeth, whatever. It takes time. They don't do it well. You need to remind them many times. And now you probably don't even think about it. It's something that you still do in the morning and in the evening with no effort. You do it efficiently, and it takes no discipline from your side because it's so easy to do. And that's very important to remind yourselves that the changing habits takes time. Don't give up because it's difficult. I like the saying that everything that is now easy to me used to be difficult at some point when I started. So nothing is easy from the very beginning. In organization, to make it happen, you need two things. You need to have procedures and rules. I'll mention you afterwards. So it needs to become a part of your everyday work, and sometimes needs to be described and put into procedures and rules, so people are looking at innovation as a part of your everyday life, of the everyday work. In order to that happen, it takes a strong commitment from the leadership. So as I described it to you, middle management and the workers, they mostly are inclined and strive towards routine, because routine is something that's easy to control, it's predictable, it's familiar. I can teach others to do it. I can predict how long it's going to take. And these are the things I appreciate a lot as a middle manager or a low-level manager or even a worker. So if you want to install something different, it's going to create instability, it's going to create mistakes, make predictions more difficult and filled with mistakes. And you need to sustain with that and say, emit the strong message that that's okay, that's fine. And maybe to create the ways, this is very important. I'll show you the model that describes that, where innovations won't disrupt the everyday work in a big way, but to make it safe in the same time, to experiment without interrupting your everyday work. So this is what needs to be on an organizational level satisfied in order to innovation become part of what you do. One good description that comes from this Vanguard Consulting I worked with and John Seddon is the idea of job number 1 and job number 2. It's just a nice way of saying what's very familiar and part of, let's say, Toyota or these continuous improvement specialists. But now it's spreading a lot. But it's good to have it in your head. So what's job number 1 and job number 2? Job number 1 is what you do. You deliver value to your customer. Basically, that's where your customers are paying you for. So that's your job number 1. That's the most important part. If you don't do that right, you will lose your customers. Your costs will go up, and you won't be sustainable anywhere. Your profit will be jeopardized. So you want to do this right, and you need to pay attention to job number 1. So what is job number 2? It is finding a better way to do job number 1. Okay, so the job number 2 is finding a better way to do job number 1. And that's innovation. Why is this important to frame in this way? What is important is that both jobs, job number 1 and job number 2, need to find a place in everybody's schedule. It shouldn't be something that you do when you have time, something when you feel about it, something that you do in your overtime. If you want to develop this kind of organizational culture, which is innovative, then the job number 2 needs to become a part of what you do. And I will show you the examples how some companies did. Okay. I believe it's simple but interesting concept to have in your mind. But we need to do job number 1, but also when I look at my schedule, what I did for the past month or a week, or what I plan to do in my following week, when I look at my schedule, how much of it is job number 1 and how much of it is job number 2? That's good to think about. What's important is that usually job number 1 is pulling your sleeve. That's Croatian way to say it. I know that how it's outside, but it's asking you to pay attention. There are problems, there are customer demand, there is all that stuff that takes your calls for your attention. And job number 2 usually doesn't. Nothing happens if you neglect job number 2 for a month or 2, nothing visible. But what you do is you jeopardize your future. That's the important part. So this is why you need to put time in your schedule to job number 2 and be disciplined about it. And if you want to drive your innovation, one part I found most inspiring is when you pay attention to your customers. It seems simple, but it's not very common. What is very common is that people pay attention or drive the source of innovation, for instance, from the technology. There is new tool, there is new IT solution, there is a new breakthrough in this technology, and we must implement this. Because usually when you start a company, doing something that you are passionate about. You like that kind of technology, this area, and you pay attention to the new developments. And when something new happens, you can't wait to put it in place. This is okay. This is one source, but the main one should be your customers, because if you don't do that, you end up, as we showed in the very beginning, you have great ideas. Maybe you just even deliver them in an efficient way, but no one wants to buy them. There is no demand for it. So you're in a problem again. So let's go and see that in a more different way. Now I need some activity from your side. Can you describe briefly, as if we were in this, if you are doing this live and you need to, in 2 sentences, say, I'm Maya or Lea or Stephanie, I come from this kind of company, and we do, what do you do? Try and type 2 sentences in chat, please. What does your company do? We make gold pins, for instance. We do trainings. Is anyone here? Okay, I'll give you a bit more time. Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. We got 3. There should be more of you present, I believe. Just give me a couple more, please. Okay, I'll read through the ones we so far got. So Step 3 supports SMEs and scientists to be more innovative, cooperate more, and access the market. Okay. Lea works in a company that supports researchers in their R&D tasks, projects, tech transfer activities, and so on. Mikael works in a company that develops and creates great, sustainable, and affordable living spaces for people, like homes and workplaces. Jennifer, in our case, we work with SMEs and R&D organizations on different projects to become more sustainable, focusing on the machine industry. Okay. Okay, from what you wrote, I can see that you've been through this kind of thinking and education. a lot of this is presented from the customer's point of view, which is great. But we will still do a bit more and help each other. And so the question is always, if we ask your customers, what would they say you do for them? Okay, a lot of you described a version of this in your answers. So it's always good to think about what can your clients do better, faster, or more easily because your company exists. What problems would your clients face if your company didn't exist? For instance, the good question is, if we stopped to exist tomorrow for any reason, who would miss us and why? That's always good to know. It's a nice perspective. What problems are you solving for your clients? So for instance, no one put it in that way, but nevertheless, the simple answer for someone would be, we create websites. That's what we do, okay? And this is kind of easy, simple solution, or we are specialists in digital marketing, okay? But if you ask your customers, what problems are you trying to solve for them? What do you do for them? They don't care about digital marketing. They don't want website. What they do want is they want to present what they offer to potential customers. That's what they actually need. And they need a channel to present their services or products to potential customers. And the website or digital marketing is just one way of doing it that you offer, okay? So this is what makes it, why is it so important to think in this way? It's important so to prevent you from becoming carburetor manufacturers, okay? Because carburetors were one way of delivering a mixture of fuel and air to the auto motors. And then there was something else that was invented. And if it doesn't matter if you're very good at producing carburetors, if the things changes, you might not notice it. There are many examples of something like that. I read a story about this. Is still it is the old one, but you can see how the things change. Konica was manufacturer of photo cameras, the previous ones, not digital, but the analog ones. So it's an old story. Maybe it's not that close to you anymore. They were asking the customers, for instance, how do you like our cameras? And people said they're great, they're efficient, they're nice, they work well. The problem is that we are not very good photographers. So sometimes we make a mistake and the photographs don't turn out the way we'd like them to do. So the change was, are we manufacturing cameras, or are we the ones providing our customers with quality photos? It means to producing quality photos. And what Konica did at that moment, they went to the Photoshops. They don't really exist anymore. And they analyzed developed photos to see what was usually wrong with them. And what they saw was that they were underexposed, overexposed, they were out of focus, and usually, if you remember, the old cameras had a film in it, so you need to pull this lever to slide the track, the ribbon on, and to snap the photo on the empty one. If you forgot to do that, you would snap the two photos on top of each other, and that would ruin the photo. For instance, that was the moment when I don't know how it's called in your company. We use in your country, we used to call them idiot cameras were invented. So it's the camera with autofocus that was invented as a result of that. auto blend adjustment, and also it was automatically, it had a motor to drive the film. So this is how they moved on. They don't exist anymore because it changed again. The technology changed, and now you don't even need this kind of cameras because we don't develop the photos anymore. Mostly we use them because the photos are not anymore. We don't need photographs. We just need memories. And the memories on the screen for most of us is as well as the one that's printed out. So that also changed. The technology is great to follow. You need to do that, but I won't spend more time on it. That's other part. Or I can tell you, just let me just. I told you it's a broad subject, so it's difficult to have a discipline to not to go too wide. But I'd like to tell you a story about how things change fast, and it's a story about taxi company in Croatia or taxi service. So if you remember it, it changed rapidly. It's completely different in 10 or 15 years. So many changes that happened in the meanwhile, and it was mostly because of technology. So the first model that lasted for many years was that the taxi drivers were parked in one part of the city. There was a telephone. They stood. They knew their queue, the number in the queue, and when the phone rang, the next one in queue would pick up and say, "Okay, I can drive you. Where do you want me to pick you up? And when you would like to drive me to?" At that period, taxi drives were reserved for very rich people because it was very expensive. And it was expensive because there was a lot of something we will later on describe as waste work. So and it's easy to notice in taxi drives because the car is empty. So you need to pay the taxi to pick you up from this central point to come and pick you up, to drive you to your destination, and then to come back to this pickup point. And that makes the drive more expensive. At one point, there was a company in Rijeka that realized there is a new technological improvement, which is called GPS. So instead of using this kind of model with telephone and taxi drivers, they created a big center where all the cars were plotted on a card. They had a dispatcher, and what they did was when the call came, they located on the map and they sent the closest driver who was by accident at that part of the city. So they minimized the empty car drives. Also, what they did later on that made it even more cheap is that they would pick up more customers on their way. So it's not that comfortable, but it drove the price down. And that happened. It was a big change. Now the students, pensioners, everybody was using taxi. It changed the industry. And we all know that part also doesn't work anymore. Technology went further. We don't have dispatcher centers anymore. We don't need it. We have application that can do that. And we have Uber drives and all that stuff that changed. So this shows you how the things can change rapidly if you don't pay attention, and you may become obsolete. These taxi drivers still wanted the same model. They struggled. They were fighting with the Uber drivers or with these cameo drivers in the meanwhile. They protested in front of the government just to keep the things the way they were before, but it just doesn't work. The technology moves forward. So it's important to understand who we are, what we actually do, and how our customers see us. So that's why we're going to do a 5-minute exercise or 6. We will break you into breakout sessions, breakout rooms, in pairs. And what you're going to do is be very quick. The way you did it was on that line, but don't try to be very customer oriented at the moment. Just describe it in your words in 1 minute. What do you do? And then the other person in your pair will try and stand in your customer's shoes, okay? And try to answer the question, how you make our life easier. If you don't know anything about the industry, if you're very far from it, don't mind. Just try and imagine how it would be. Maybe you will give some ideas that are very different from the usual point of view. And so the third part is that the first person answers the thing that struck me most about what you said was this, okay? I will put this in your chat so you can be reminded. And
Alan, I will try to split because some of us know each other. So I will try to create breakout rooms in a way that we are combined with the others. So let me just know when we can start. So
yeah, just the fourth step is just not to remember that is switch and repeat. So do the same from the other side. It should take you 3 minutes for each side and 6 minutes altogether. Okay? Try to be strict on the time.
Okay. I will go into one room.
Okay.
As we have one person that is alone. So. and we finished the task, so we can.
Okay.
Tell me when you want me to maybe, I don't know, say that they have a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, sorry, Jennifer will have to report for our team. I have to leave for another meeting because it's 12:30
Oh, okay.
already, sorry.
Thank
See
you.
you next
Bye,
time.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. You're back. You all back. Would anyone like to share? Were there any insights or surprises from what you heard from the other side in this artificial situation, but maybe it was useful?
For me, no. And it was clearly communicated what are they doing, so.
But for you, when you heard their response, how they see you as your user, customer?
It was clear.
Okay.
In my case, I worked with Leia, who just left.
Yeah.
And my company also, she works at the university and as a researcher. And the company I'm working at is also working with university. So I understood
Okay.
what she is doing.
But did you manage to stand in the shoes of your customers? And
Like,
yeah,
do you mean what we
how
benefit?
what do you, yeah, so the first difficult question is, who are your customers as a university? This is a tricky one. It's not as easy as it seems.
Yeah,
What would you say?
like in our case, we're the one who getting the knowledge from universities.
Yeah.
Like they know how they do the researches, and we use them to connect or use them in our projects with the customers from our side.
It gets a bit more complicated. It's in a way you're paid by the government or by the state.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we are paid by the
in a way,
government.
the society or the state is your user in one part.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
correct.
they also want to get some kind of, they need to have some kind of influence on what you do and give you feedback. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Good, good. Maya raised her hand.
Yes. Thank you. Well, the reaction of the colleague Michael was positive on what I said, that our organization is trying to digitalize the procedures for companies and business sector, especially to do trade more faster, efficient, and with less pain going through borders. As I work for a public institution, customs administration, so our job is quite busy these days with turning the paper into digital environment.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be what I said.
Cool. My suggestion would be when you describe what you do, just try and switch. Because you said we are providing digital, paraphrase, providing digital solutions to help the companies to do trades with less visits to the border, right?
Yeah.
So try and switch it. It makes it more sustainable. We are helping companies to do their trade in an easier way, more simple way. At the moment, we do it by digitalizing. But when you at some moment the digitalization ends up or it's finished, you still want to have your purpose. You still want to have some way, and there will be ways to help the companies do their trade in an easier way. So sometimes it just helps that you switch these 2 points and to put more focus on the purpose, because that's if you ask your clients what you do, you help them to do their trade in a simpler way. That's what they want from you. So at the moment it's through digitalization, but maybe in the next period it will be through, I don't know, AI or whatever it could be. Sometimes it helps just to switch. Okay.
Thank you for the point, but I would like just to add, I did that in a bit general way because our job is like perpetuum mobile and never ending. Until we find a solution for one problem, AI or something like that is already yesterday. So
yeah.
That's why I said it as I did.
Yeah. So it helps you if you mention the digitalization or something, it helps you focus that you're not too broad, and sometimes you need that. But also if you are always aware that your point is to make it easier for them to do their work, you will probably be more innovative in finding new ways to do it and to recognize the changes that happen all the time, as you pointed out. Okay, you are on a good way. From what I heard already, I will just then speak it out for you and maybe make it maybe more tangible through the idea of two business mindset. The common, it was, but I believe still is a product out mindset. So it's basically the mindset that our organization sells products and services designed based on our needs with features and characteristics that satisfy us, or that we find as quality characteristics of a product, how it's supposed to be, and we know what's best for the customer. It's very often, and you probably are usually very often on the end part, and you can feel it as that when you present it to the customers, you need to persuade them that this is good for them. Usually there is a approach in propaganda or in a commercial in a promotion that's full of exaggerating. You need to emphasize and maybe even to make it better than it actually is, look better than it actually is, to convince and persuade your customers to buy. The other approach is, this usually happens because I worked somewhere else, I saw it, it's great, people should buy that, it's really good thing, I like it. For instance, I live in Rijeka, which is a medium-sized city. We have a port, we have some tourism, but for the long time, for instance, Chinese restaurants or Indian restaurants didn't survive. I like it, and people could open this kind of shops like to this kind of food, but they need to sell it out and they need to persuade, and it just didn't work because there was no need. The customer in mindset starts with understanding what's missing, what are the customers missing, what they need, what problems they have, as we mentioned before. And then we connect customer needs with our expertise to develop products and services that satisfy and even delight them. Okay? So that's what we do. We understand what problems people have and what they need. They might not even be aware that that is a problem because they got used to it. And then we use our expertise and technology and understanding to develop products and services that will satisfy and delight them. There is a slight difference. Satisfy is give them what they want, what they expect, and delight means means that you give them more than they expected. In this kind of company, in this promotional part, you just need to inform the customers, okay, what you want, what you needed, we created something that serves that purpose. And here is how to get it. You don't need to persuade, you don't need to exaggerate. Your job is to inform them, you know, the problem you had, well, we have the solution. That's interesting how you can see if you're working in a customer in or customer out. Companies easy if you measure the budget of marketing department, how much they spent on customer surveys and how much they spend on promotion. If you spend more on promotion, then you're probably in a customer out mindset company. In a customer in mindset, you treat customers as part of your system. You care about them. You try to help them. They don't, well, customers sometimes annoy us, but you need to get over it. You need to understand them and sympathize and have empathy for them and responsive to their request instead of pulling out the contracts and service agreements and saying, no, this is what they agreed. We don't care what you need. We gave you what we agreed on. We don't care about your additional request. So if you take in this customer in mindset, you try to understand them, to empathize with them, and to develop solutions for their requests, even though these ones were not agreed on at the very beginning because you care about the long term and about their benefits. So the idea of how it connects with innovation, if you understand your customers' everyday experiences, you can imagine products and services they would never think to ask for. So you don't wait for them to ask for a service because your customers don't have the knowledge needed to design it for you. You need to go through that part of process. So everyday experiences, you can imagine products and services they would never think to ask for. And there are many examples. I just put it out in the materials. When you get this presentation, you will see the story about Japanese companies, how they started their marketing influence in the American soil, and what they needed to come across or to change is to understand American mindset, which is very different from Japanese, in order to succeed. And they managed to do it as we see. Chinese are doing it in a very similar way at the moment. So I just have some examples to make it more visual for you, more visible. The one thing that you all know and that changed everything is the iPhone. When Apple made it, no one asked for the iPhone. That's the usual saying when you're trying to say that you need to listen to your customers. And yes, no one asked for the iPhone. I wanted in that way. That needed the expertise. So what was needed was people who pay attention to the problems users had at the moment, and to use their expertise to develop the different solution. And it was combination. The iPhone is great, or this kind of smartphones is the great example of combining your knowledge of technology and understand the customer needs. So what was happening at the moment, if you remember, there were already digital cameras. There were palm computers used to schedule your appointments, and there were mobile phones. And someone actually realized, well, all these things can connect to have screens, have batteries, so they share a lot of same parts, and people need to have all of them, and maybe we can combine them together. They use the idea of touch screen, and that was developed as a technology at the moment and created result. Also, Apple and iPhone are examples of great delivery. So what they did, they created in a way that worked great. The customer experience was just great. The marketing was excellent, and they make it they're cost effective. Their profits are rising, so their R&D can strive more. The second example, great interesting one, is Airbnb, who started from they started from the idea that people who travel don't just want a place to stay; they want to experience the culture, the way of living. And if you remember, the initial idea was to share just a room or part of your apartment. So it was not just that you rent the apartment; it was that you live for a while with a local. So that was the initial idea of Airbnb. IKEA, we all know it's great model, but it came out from the study about how people furnish their homes, especially on a budget. So it's basically for students, young families who are on a budget, and they pay attention and they understood that the problem is with transportation. And they use their expertise to develop affordable quality furniture, which can be transported and assembled on your own, which this created what we all know now and enjoy every day. But it came from observing the customers. I gave you this, the last one is, I really won't do it as an exercise, just in your minds. Usually when you think about a good hotel, how the hotel should look like, what's important for a good hotel, if you generalize in that way, you probably come up with ideas of location, big rooms, swimming pool, good food, polite customer service, and all that stuff. My experience when I was working in UK was very interesting. I came to London in a very strange hotel on Oxford Street that served all of my needs because it understood what it's needed when you are traveling for business internationally. Okay, if you put yourself in that position, you will probably think in a different way. You usually come for a couple of days or even for a day. You fly and you probably change your time zone. You need to come in a good condition for meeting or some occasion that you need to be rested and in a good shape. So there is a hotel that's called Premier Inn Hub Hotels that understood this idea, and I experienced very strange things. For instance, there is no reception desk. There's a automated surface. It was 10 years ago. It's probably even evolved in the meanwhile. When you just scan your ID, it finds your reservation and it gives you out the card you need to unlock your room. Basically, that's what you need. You are tired, you need to quickly unpack and lie down. So the next thing is that I noticed there is no closet. the room is smaller. There is no closet because I usually don't use it. I open my case, I take the clothes I need for that day, and just pack it back. I don't have enough time to take everything out in the closet and then put it back in my case. So they don't have cases, but what they do have is 4 different kinds of pillows. Do you know hotel pillows? That's usually awful and you struggle most of the night to find a good position. They have 4 different high quality types of pillows. The bed is great. I wish I had that kind of mattress at my home. It's great bed. They have double or triple curtains on their windows, so you can darken your room even in the middle of the day. And it's great, and the soundproofing is perfect. So you don't have you don't notice the noise, even though you're in the main street in London. And the fifth part, the food was not great, but the kitchen was open 24/7. Okay, so when you come in the middle of the night, you want a quick soup or something or a snack, you can get it in the kitchen. You see? And they managed, what they did was they cut out the things that are not important for their customers, specific customers, and they created high quality because it had what was important for me was in top class. The soundproofing, the pillows, the bed, it was better than in most high class hotels. And the things I didn't need, they left out. So what they managed to do is to give me a great service on what I needed on an affordable price in the great location in the city. By understanding my world, my needs, my experiences, okay? So what's important for you is to understand who are your customers, are there any different groups, what problems do they face, what matters to them, what's important, what are the key quality attributes for each group. Usually you have different customers. If you miss that, you will lose the focus. We worked for just a short story. We worked for the marina, in the local island, and when we started, their approach was we are selling the space in the marina measured in meters. So more meters, more expensive. Okay, that was the offer they had. And then they understood they have very different customers. For instance, they had 3 major groups. The first ones were the rich, wealthy customers who like to show off. Okay, I have a big boat, I have a lot of money, I want others to see that. They have the second group, which have medium-sized boats. They like sailing, they need basic services, but they don't want to show off. And the third group was very different. It was during bad economic times, so they had people who have boats, but don't even have enough money to pay for the fuel to go out of the marina. So they mostly stayed in the marina, used the boats as some kind of apartment for the summer, for the children and the friends. And what they appreciate was that if I put it in they call it dry marina, you can't use it as a boat. If it's in the sea, I can stay in the boat. And they then split the areas and the services in 3 parts. So you don't pay anymore just for the length of your ship. You pay for the services you get. Those who wanted just to put their ship in the sea, were on the further part of the marina, a bit far away from the amenities and with the smaller toilets, but they were happy because they got it for the price of dry marina. This with luxury ships were in the center one, close to the luxury restaurant, and in the middle ones, the middle part with the middle price were those who wanted to sail and not to show off. And that helped them to create different levels of service for different customers. So that's important. Sometimes it's important to understand who's the end user. That's a different story, but sometimes you sell your stuff to someone who sells it further. And it's important to understand who's your end user. For instance, I work with a company, they sell ice rinks. So you go ice skating, okay? but they sell that to people who rent it to the local authorities. And the local authority is the end user. And if you want to help your buyers, you need to understand how the end user works. So, for instance, they created some kind of decoration which can, using the LED technology, project commercials, so they can sell commercials, place for commercials, in order to lower the expense for the end users, and in that way help them to involve this in their winter offer. And you need to go and talk to them. You need to you can make a survey, or you can make interviews. Especially, it's very good if you spend time with them to see them in everyday work, how they spend their time, what problems they serve, they face. They won't always tell you that on their own. And in order to make it part of your everyday work, there are some approaches. One of them is process optimization, which helps you to understand. You can Google it a bit more to understand. We don't have time to go into in depth, but just you know that it exists. It helps you by analyze your process and to understand that some things that you do are work, and that means that adds value to the customer, and some of it is waste because it's not adding value to the customer. So, for instance, this education is adding value to you, but all the other paperwork and registration and all that stuff was, according to this approach, waste work. So what you want to do is to minimize the waste work, find the way to cut it out, or to do it in an efficient way, and so you need to charge only for value work. Handovers, transportation, checks, inventory, all that is waste work. Google it, you'll find it. The other approach is demand analysis. So usually we need more people, we need more resources, we get a lot of demand, but not all demand is the same. For instance, complaints, or someone calls you, okay, I sent you my papers, is that done already? When it's going to be done? That's progress chasing. It's creating demand on you. You need to spend time to answer these phone calls or emails, but actually it's created because you did something wrong. If you told people how long it's going to take, or if you manage to do it on time, they wouldn't be calling you back. So that's why it's a failure demand, and it's not the same as value demand. You don't want more people to manage failure demand. You want to improve your value, your processes, so failure demand doesn't stop happening. And this is just one model that comes from Deming. It's idea on how to, I told you before, to make implementation of new ideas more easier, and explains that you start with plan, what you're trying to do. The second part is usually prototyping. That's how it's nowadays called. He called it do. You do a small experiment to see if it works without affecting the big part of the work. So you just do it once or 10 times just to prove the concept that it actually works, and then you slowly you study them, and then you act by involving more and more work through the new way of operating it. Don't do a huge change. Just go through this cycle all the time and make it more gentle. Toyota has quality circles. This is the idea of how you have procedures. You need to ensure time for people to do innovation work. You need to give them space and time during their regular work, not to make it just one-off. So one approach is quality circle. Google had 20-time policy, or innovation day, as it was started in the beginning. They pay their people to do non-project work for one day. So they were not allowed to do anything on their everyday work for one entire day. They should focus on things they care about. They feel ideas. They feel that something can be done. So this is interesting because it helps you understand that you need to pay people to do job number 2, and you need to create a space in their workday to do it. And this is what I did. I told you, which failed in the local manufacturing company. We created boards in each department. They looked like this. It was different for every department because it mapped its equation. Sorry, but that's the original. So this is for purchasing department. It maps the main steps in the purchasing process. That's the top part. And then what was the idea when they face the problem, delay, any type of ineffectiveness, they had to put a post-it note at the point of where it was happening in the process. Once a week, they would collect and see what are the problems. And the second line is to find a way how to measure how often does it happen. You don't want to spend time on something that was one-off. It doesn't happen enough. You want to see how long does it happen, in what moments are the days when it's happening, and so on. And the bottom part says ideas for improvement. Sometimes people doing the work already have the idea, and you want to ask them how it might be improved, but not always act on it. So the second part is this is for sales, and then the idea was to create them. So there was a department meeting when you collect all the problems you have and ideas you might have and the measures. And every 2 weeks, there is a board meeting with different departments, because usually to solve the problem in one department, you need a change in some other departments. And where they would go through these ideas and come up with solutions. So this is something that was the idea, but unfortunately, the pressure of everyday work, and they were so tightly resourced that the idea of spending time on something like this was not accepted, and it failed. So that's what I wanted to tell you about innovation. We 1 minute over the time, but if you have questions, you can send them on email. Probably we don't want to, or you can stay. I have 15 minutes. I can stay if someone wants to. My idea was to try, and this is good for you, to sum it up using this tool. You now need your phones. I hope you have that much time. And scan this QR code.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask all the participants, we will send a feedback form later on. So if they would be so kind to fill it in, because it helps us show if it was successful or not.
Okay. I hope this works. It should take you to a website, and then you need to hit like so we know you are. Yep. Okay. Cool. Three likes. Others? Is there a problem? I'll give it a try. Okay, I'm the fourth one. Okay, so the question for you is to, oh, sorry, it broke. It helps you remember. Based on today's workshops, what are the main prerequisites to improve innovation in your company? Just try and remember. We've been through a lot through brainstormings, and we talked about creativity. Try to remember and just type in your experience, what are the main prerequisites for your company. In that way, we will go through the main points together. Prioritize. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. If you have any more, just. Mm-hmm. Okay. Create and process. Think as a customer. Yeah. It's incredibly difficult sometimes. For instance, in that marina, even the owners didn't have a boat. That was really interesting. It was privately owned, and the family who owned the marina didn't have their own boat, so they didn't have their first-hand experience of using a marina. And once they did it, the restaurant was very good in that marina, and they regularly even the main part of the crew went out to some other places they admired too, and try to see how it feels to go to that restaurant as a customer. So they did it even before we started to work with them. Collaborate with others, do brainstorming. It's important to look what your customer wants. Don't only focus on what you want to do. Create value for customers, great. And encourage employees to share ideas freely, which is not always easy. You need to create space for them and atmosphere. Remember that the team is always more creative than the individual. Prioritize diversity in creating and delivering ideas. And risk, yes, risk is part of innovation. It is the great part, but it's also some frustration and fear that can stop us. Okay, guys, that's what I've got. It was not always easy to look at blank screen, but I hope I gave you some value today that might help your life easier.
I'm sorry that we are not live. That's all. It would be really much fun, but I think that you did a great job. So thank you once again, Arlen. I would like to thank all the other participants. And if you want to follow next workshops, please subscribe. We will send you the presentation with all the links. Have a nice day and coming weekend. It's sunny and nice. Okay. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.